In February, I will be celebrating 5 years of life after pancreatic cancer diagnosis. I rejoice every single day in spite of losing most of my closest family members to cancer. My mother, who was a hospital administrator, was sick for a year before she insisted that she get the latest in diagnostic technology, which at that point was a CAT scan. This gave the diagnosis of colon cancer. And in her 4 remaining years of life, it was filled with surgeries, chemotherapy, lots of suffering. No one talked about death in my family. No one talked about cancer. The emotional burden was extraordinary. Being a teenager, being a caretaker for my mother, the driver, cook, cleaner, and I needed support that I didn't have. Just a few years later, my oldest sister, Robin, 37 years old, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She lived for 8 months. 2017, my closest and dearest sister, Ruth, diagnosed with uterine cancer. At this point, it was advanced. It had moved to her bladder, liver, bone, presumably brain, and she had 4 months in hospice care before she died. And I was the only family member there for her. And just 2 years later, it was my turn. I just was starting a new life. I wanted to live on the ocean. I moved to the coast. I was going to buy a bed and breakfast. And sadly diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I had to wait 3 weeks before my surgery. My CT image did not show if my tumor had grown into the main artery of the pancreas. So going into surgery, I had no idea if I was going to be opened up and quickly closed up and given a death sentence. Thankfully, that was not the case. 10.5-hour Whipple surgery, successful. Several months of recuperation, and I decided I needed to move back to Toronto for follow-up treatment, but also for support of friends. Didn't know at that point that the support would be pretty limited. People have busy lives. They have families, they have work obligations. And in general, I think so many people are terrified of a cancer diagnosis, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to help, and they shy away, and they don't give the support that someone needs. Pretty devastating. I had support on the weekends, but through the week, I was on my own. Through every chemo treatment, I was on my own. And yeah, I was scared. And then I discovered Wellspring. So on the days that I felt good, which were about 4 days a month, I walked to Wellspring, where I was received like an old friend. I was embraced and given support that I was so longing for and so needed. The programs, unbelievable. I participated in relaxation visualization, Reiki, Chi Life, yoga, art therapy. I got professional financial advice. I had peer support, volunteer advice, and I got psychotherapy from one of the most outstanding psychotherapists. This was the lifeline for me. It was cathartic. I couldn't believe that these people, unbeknownst to me, they were strangers, and they embraced me, and they gave me the love and support that I so desperately needed. I can't imagine what my cancer experience would have been like without this support. So I don't cry so much anymore when I talk about my own cancer stories, but I cry when I talk about Wellspring. The depth of love that I received was unbelievable. My friends had a hard time showing up for me, but I discovered very quickly that my friends were here at Wellspring, giving me the support, encouragement, the respite from the chaos, the community. It made this unbelievably traumatic experience so much better. And I'm proud to say that I can give back at this point in my life. And I've just become a peer support volunteer, talking with people either diagnosed with pancreatic cancer or people that have been affected with a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. I thank all of the people that make these programs run and work, all the behind the scenes people, all the volunteers, the donors. This is important work. Thank you.